from Cleveland, Ohio. I started painting as a figurative realist painter. So I was doing photorealism while attempting to do photorealism. I wasn't quite there yet, but and then over the course of 10 years of painting professionally, I slowly worked my way into abstraction, dropping the realism first, working still figuratively, and then eventually the figures became simpler and simpler and simpler until they were just completely gone from the paintings. Some of the abstract work that really pushed me into making abstract work was Willem de Kooning, Richard Diebenkorn. I really like the San Francisco Bay Area artists. And so, you guys probably know a lot of you look like art students. We're always trying to make something unique and different and truly ourselves. So with this work, I'm really trying to mix man-made objects and natural objects together into one form. I'm also trying to mix objects and landscape. So they're kind of like a mechanical organism that is also a place, if that makes sense. So they're kind of environments as well as objects. I'm a big fan of paint and everything that paint does, drips and splatters, and I'm a fan of all different kinds of paint media, so I mix a lot of media in my paintings. So there's spray paint, acrylic, oil paint. Some of these pieces have pencil and marker in them because I like diverse line and form. What else?
Could you talk a bit about how you approach working on a painting, how you started?
Yeah.
Like what are the layers? Do you have it on the ground? Do you have it on the wall? Just talk a bit about that.
Yeah, thanks, Ken. So the different surfaces necessitate different process. Obviously, the panels I can get finer line on with pencils, and I can't use pencil unless I've got to find some kind of like charcoal pencil, but I don't use pencils on the linen. I do use sometimes an oil marker on the linen, and then so the underpaintings start real loose and gestural, and then everything just kind of tightens up as the layers go. And because I'm concerned about the conservation properties of the pieces, I work with acrylic and spray paint underneath the oil, so the oil is always on top. And then usually the first layer is the painting is on the ground, and I'm just kind of washing over real wild gestural stuff, and then I take them outside in my backyard, spray paint them, and then bring them back in and prop them up, and then the rest of the work is done propped up. So I'm doing a combination of different things to get the paint to do different things. Because you can see like these areas here, this is only made when the painting, when the medium pools, so it would run, if it wasn't laying flat. So I like to have a combination of those kind of effects.
How do you compose a piece? Do you do thumbnail sketches and kind of decide the composition, or do you just go for it?
I used to do thumbnail sketches. The body of work I made before these, there were these circular, I don't know if anyone looked at those, they're like these bubbly circular things, and I drew them to the T. I mean, I drew every mark in a thumbnail, and I kind of broke myself. I was like, this is ridiculous. I'm not doing that anymore. So I freehand the whole thing. I might stare at a blank canvas for a minute to get kind of a basic, this is how I want this to flow, or these are the colors I kind of want to use, but typically that ends up changing by the end.
Okay.
It looks totally different than the underpainting. And I kind of just go with it. I really try to have a little bit of a Taoist approach with it. I don't want to get too rigid or be too precious about the marks I'm making, because I want them to feel free and breathable and natural and weird. So.
I also have a question for you. You can see all of your brush strokes, especially in the top layers. Do you use any sort of like ruler, or do you just like practice doing the lines? Can you talk a bit about that?
Yeah, no, I just make the lines freehand.
Okay.
But they're gone. They might look like they're real haphazard on top, but they're not. They're gone over quite a few times to get them the way I want. So I do get a little rigid with it, but I'm fighting myself on that all the time. Yeah, but I've been painting for a long time too, so they're not that hard to keep real straight.
Okay.
My father was a painter, so I grew up painting. I've been painting since I was 3. Any other questions?
Any questions?
Some of these marks over the top almost seem like they could be read like a semaphore, like you took like a map of a street or a subway and kind of flattened it out, and then there would be a reference to that. Is there ever that?
I like that idea, and I know that mapping has really been kind of popular, and so I think people are paying attention to that more. But I really came off of a place where I was making paintings that were very flat. So like maps are real flat. There's no dimension to them whatsoever, and I'm fighting against that constantly. I want them to feel like knots like balls of knots rather than a flat map. But it's nice, and it's, I love the subway. They're really, a lot of the forms were kind of influenced by, I know it's going to sound kind of cheesy, but like the nice little curve that my iPhone makes on the corner, and like underpinnings of bridges where I live, and I just had a baby a year ago. So all this work was created since I've had my new son, and we take walks a lot, and where I live, there's this new-ish park development called Ohio Erie Canal Corridor, and it's all these parks that they made green spaces in all this dilapidated industrial infrastructure that Cleveland is no longer using. So there are a lot of these forms are from bridge underpinnings or old factory garbage.
I'm glad you said that. I had, over the month of seeing these paintings, I kept debating whether they seemed more like natural forms or more industrial forms. So do you see them more as being industrial or kind of a hybrid?
I'm hoping for a hybrid.
Okay.
Probably they're leaning, some of them seem more industrial, like Burning River seems a little more industrial. Iron Leaf, the one next to the right, the green one, maybe it's the green, but that one seems more natural. Maybe it's because it's more a bit larger round forms. Yeah, I guess it just depends. This one with like short chain seems more urban and industrial to me. So yeah, it kind of varies. I'm trying for a combination of both.
Well, I kept like debating whether they seemed more one or the other, and I was never able to reach a decision.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you said that.
All right, thanks so much.